Hi, welcome back to the FPL Banter podcast with a brand new introduction music. Hope you like it. And the usual faces, we've got Woody.
Hello.
And Alex.
Hey, how's it going?
So it has been a very busy week and there's been a lot going on. So we thought we'd get a bit of a recap of last week, how we did on the team. Woody, what do you reckon?
Yeah, again, not good. It's been a bit of a poor showing the last couple of weeks. But last week was a lot of surprise results and a lot of the big names. Like I've seen a lot of sort of MAYMAYS and GIFs going around.
MAYMAYS? You mean memes?
MAYMAYS, yep. Yeah, those two. With like all the people whose captains got 4 points, and there's a lot. A lot of the big names didn't turn up, so we're not the only ones that struggled. But
you know, you say that in some ways, you say a lot of the big names didn't turn up. Fernandes gets a penalty. You know, Vardy gets a hat trick. DCL gets a hat trick. In a lot of ways, you know, the writing was on the wall. It's just we kind of went punty, right?
DCL didn't get a hat trick.
No.
Okay, sorry.
That was the week before.
The week before.
Jesus, tourist Eric.
God, it's like watching Trump's fact checkers.
No. He got a goal, okay, and he got you know, it was all right. It was good enough. He got a hat trick during the week. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what you meant. Sure.
Yeah.
But I think the annoying one was KDB. I think kind of underperformed, and I think Woody, you have a theory that Pep isn't playing them in the right formation, right?
It's something that sort of picked up a bit more on my my midweek analysis as well. I think it's just because of the last minute injury to Jesus, and he just changed his formation a little bit. And I don't know if you've seen Darren Fletcher's analysis of it on Match of the Day, I think it was. And he sort of made the good point that, you know, Pep very rarely plays with the two holding midfielders, and he did, and it just messed up the whole system. And they just didn't look like themselves. So yeah, but they rectified that in the midweek and sort of went back to their normal sort of 4-3-3 with a central pivot, as they call it these days.
And I mean, other things that were unpredictable. I think Son coming off at halftime with a hamstring issue was a bit surprising for me, because I mean, I'm sure everyone that watched the game would have been really wanting him to come out in the second half, because he got close. I think he hit the post and the crossbar a few times. So he was on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, Newcastle were done. They were turkey. Like, I mean, the amount of shots they had, it was like watching Liverpool versus Arsenal last night. It was.
Okay, take it easy. Arsenal the winners?
It was a shooting gallery out there, but yeah, like you say, Son. Another one was Timo Werner, or a lot of the Chelsea again.
Like, see, that's an interesting one.
I mean, Lampard doesn't seem to know what he's doing with his formation, with all the injuries he's got. And I mean, Alonso and Thiago Silva made howlers at the back, so going in 3-0 down at halftime. Like, that was a weird game. And I mean, you see that, you know, see it 3-0 at halftime, you're like, what is going on there? Similar to the West Ham Wolves game. And like the West Ham Wolves, no one. I mean, you know, Jimenez scoring an own goal, getting 0 points.
Yeah, that's a bit of a slap in the face. And lose 4-0 to West Ham as well. I mean, who could have predicted that?
No one saw that coming. So, yeah, and even Leicester 5-2. I mean, fair enough. You see, he didn't play well, but 5, shipping 5. I mean,
I saw
it was a weird week.
A few teams had the big three. There was the Saiz, Podence, and Jimenez. That would have been 3 big zeros.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
But the good ones, I mean, then, you know, as predicted, I think Leeds have stopped scoring so many goals. They managed to get a win, though, against Sheffield United, which is quite nice. But it was old Bamford up front scoring the only goal, which I think is quite old, reliable Bamford.
Good goal.
Paddy Bams.
Yeah. Then Spurs Newcastle was just a bit flat, as we've discussed, unfortunately.
Well, it certainly was for Newcastle. Yes, it was rubbish.
I'm going to drop in the unpopular opinion. I think it was the handball.
We're going to talk about.
Honestly, are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about handballs now, are we?
Yeah, we might as well. Yeah.
But look, in my opinion, I know it's unpopular, but I think Dier's hand was away from his body, and the ball hit the skin on his arm, which now is a penalty. Whether he meant it or not, he deviated the trajectory of the ball, and assuming that was, let's say, in another situation when that was going to a striker who was open, then that would have been a clear penalty. But
as Witz has said, I mean, I think it would be better back if we could do an indirect free kick in those situations. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it being a penalty, I think it's a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm not against that, but in that case, we're agreeing that it's a foul. That he definitely he deviated the ball with his arm.
But I think this is the thing, and this is Woody and I have had a discussion about it, quite an intense discussion about it. I'm trying to. My point is that the referees are trying to remove any subjectivity from it, and Woody feels that they're adding more subjectivity to it. Right?
Well, I wouldn't say that adding more, but there's still an element of it
of subjectivity.
Yeah. So, and I don't think you can ever really remove it unless you make any contact with the hand at all a foul of the direct nature, and that would just ruin everything. It would just make it. I mean, it's already kind of going that way in Europe, and it sucks. Like looking at the handballs last night in the Tottenham game. I mean, neither of those are handballs.
Yeah, no, I agree. That I have to agree with you that neither of those are handballs.
Was not a handball. Yeah, I think we're agreeing.
And also, as I think, as you said, Witz, so there's the discussion there is like absolutely not deliberate and not a foul. So why a penalty and not an indirect free kick? Like Witz said, it used to be accidental, no intention, so it's an indirect free kick. Yeah, I don't understand why.
No, that's true. But what I understand,
I feel like indirect free kicks, we don't see enough of those. Like when I was in school back in the day, you'd see them all the time.
Oh yeah,
they're always taking indirect free kicks, but now you just never see it.
Yeah, wasn't obstruction? Wasn't that an indirect free kick as well? Like you just block someone's run. That was one I always used to get.
Or passing back to your goalkeeper.
Yeah, the old back pass. I did that a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I understand just very quickly. For me, I understand what they're trying to do with the handball. Again, they're trying to remove any subjectivity because I'm sure, our listeners have had disagreements with their mates when watching a game with regards to what is handball and what isn't. And every time it comes up with a massive argument. And I think the point is with this, what they're trying to do, although albeit very badly, is try and state, look, anytime the ball touches your hand, it's as if it's anywhere other than just by your side, then it's a handball. That's the rule. There and done. I know it's stupid, but I think that's what they're trying to do.
People say that. Yeah, I've heard people say that you can't jump with your hands by your side. I understand the logic because it's a bit weird, but if you look at the actual picture of Eric Dier's handball, Andy Carroll is next to him jumping, and he has his hands by his side.
So I have an explanation for that. Is that if you run up, if you're able to run onto a header and run and jump, your hands are dropped by this point because you've reached your peak. You've reached the peak, right? If you're the defender, Eric Dier, who's static, in order for him to launch himself, he's going to have to raise his hands up because he's in a static position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whilst if you
use
inertia,
the timing of the jump.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's got a lot to do with it as well. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, the anticipation and all that stuff. And I think we had the discussion as well. Is there's a difference between like jumping for a header and then it coming off your arm in the challenge in the air versus blocking a shot with your hands either out or in by your side. Like those are two very different things. Because like,
the old Suarez Uruguay one.
Well, yeah.
But
it's like Dier couldn't see where the ball was coming after Carroll's headed it, so he's just it's a bit of his complete passenger in that sense. Whereas if you're charging down a shot, going to block it, and your arms are out, or you're aware of the risk, and so arm position is much more deliberate. So I think again there could be a variation in the penalty to the crime,
But to sum this up, I think to sum this up, Woody, tell us what you thought as an idea would be great. What players could do in order to kind of do a little revolution against it.
Yeah, it's just like the first 3 minutes of a game, just no one use their arms to do anything. Just like put their arms in their shorts, in their pockets, and just run around like fish. Just for a couple of minutes, just to really, really emphasize how ridiculous this whole thing is. I think it'd be great. It'd be great television.
Speaking of Eric Dier, he's been in the news this week for more than one reason. We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard stories from you guys about your Sims and you've had to nip off.
I just don't understand why Mourinho ran after him. Like, I'm trying to understand the logic behind that because, I mean, clearly, if a guy's running off the pitch, to me, he's either sick or he needs to go to the toilet, right? There's no other reason for it.
Well, have you read what his explanation was?
Well, yeah, he said
Speed him up.
nature.
Yeah, but to speed him up. It was to speed him up, to put pressure on him.
To put pressure on him to encourage him to do it quickly.
Because we all know how
he's
good
a
pressure.
manager.
Yeah, because we all know how much pressure helps when you're going to the toilet.
Exactly. That's when you're sitting on the loo trying to force one out. The last thing you need is your bloody manager yelling at you. Come on, get it out.
Like, I can't hear you. Come on.
Come
on. In other news, Paul Scholes, who seems to just chime in every now and again, he reckoned that Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden need to be forgiven and play for England because they have no other strikers other than DCL and Kane. What do you reckon?
Yeah, he said there was a lack of creativity, right, with those two guys gone.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit harsh, and especially coming from Paul Scholes, who, if he was caught doing that by Fergie, he probably wouldn't play for about 6 months. So
and also didn't he also retire from the England squad at like 30 because he just didn't fancy it anymore? So it's like
he's a bit miserable, isn't he?
Yeah, he kind of threw out his England chits, when he stopped playing. But
I don't know.
I agree with his point that I think they should be forgiven.
Agreed.
Whatever. Like, don't dwell on it. It's stupid.
I think they were
it's stupid.
Yeah, I think they were all massively vilified by the press, by the British press.
I think move on, put a line under it, and do that by picking them in the squad. Well, they've announced the squad, right? I haven't actually seen it yet. Are they in it? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so. But Woody, quick question for you. In your Norwich days, were you ever busted in Oceania or something like that? What was the story then?
In Oceania? Wasn't that in Richmond?
Well, no, there's a few.
Everywhere.
There's one in Kingston. There's one in Milton Keynes, obviously. So which one did you get to?
We went to Liquid in Ipswich.
There we go. Another one. Oceania Liquid. There's one everywhere.
Big shout out to Liquid.
Shout out to Liquid.
Alex,
like Eric Dier. Big shout out to Liquid.
Oh God,
it's good. Alex, quick question for you as a Man United fan.
Oh God,
the transfer policy.
Well, there's a lot of things that I'm not going to list off stuff that's winding me up about Manchester United. But yeah, I think you guys are talking about the fact that we're focusing mostly on midfielders and forwards or wingers, whilst we're not focusing on the defenders.
Anytime Manchester United seem to lose a game, right? It just seems like they go, there'll be Gary Neville or someone will come on and go, we need at least 5 new players. This is ridiculous, right? And the players that list off seem to be guys like Jadon Sancho, Dembele, and no one's talking about Lindelof and Maguire in defence.
No, so this is what winds me up as well, because you can see, obviously there's B teams of both Brighton and Manchester United that played during the week, right? But you could see a lot more dedication to it, a lot more kind of desire, I felt anyway, from the players. And then as soon as Pogba and Rashford came on, then it completely changed as well in our favour, which is great. But that's my point. My point is, I think that the players that are in the first team are too comfortable with their positions. That's why they're planning to bring in these kind of top-class midfielders in order to challenge them a little bit and inspire them. Because most of the team that played during the week were, B team. So they had the motivation to be like, right, I need to show what I'm good for, what I can bring to the table, etc. Such as, unfortunately, Daniel James and Igalo were still a bit flat, but it just looked better. I prefer it when there's competition, and I think that's why they're looking at bringing in midfielders.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like someone like Dembele, who can play both wings, it would keep Rashford and Greenwood on their toes, and even Martial, because maybe if he's a bit flat, they could put Greenwood through the middle and then Dembele out wide. So yeah, I know what they're doing, but I think primarily they need another centre back first. Yeah,
no, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that, and let's see. You look at City as well. They went into the market now with Diaz because they're missing Company. Obviously, we all remember Company. He was there for years, and
he's a legend.
Yeah, he is a legend. He annoyed me so many times though about the goals he scored against Manchester United, and he's such a nice guy as well. Just winds you up.
He's a really nice guy. It's just annoying when you have a guy that's that good at football, but also really down to earth bloke. Exactly. How does it not go to his head?
But you don't think Nathan Ake is the new Vincent Kompany?
I think he scored a goal. So I mean, whoever had him on FPL probably are quite happy. But I mean, then again, he conceded 5 goals. So
he's not the new Vincent Company.
No, he's not. He doesn't. There's no one.
No.
There's no one shouting. There's not enough leadership, and I'd say that for the Manchester United team either as well. Sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what. Watching the cup, Laporte. Is it Laporte or Laporte? I think it's just Laporte, isn't it? He's Laporte.
Laporte.
Mr. Laporte. He's return aid, and he was doing exactly that. Like he was, bossing the back, and obviously they kept. I know it was Burnley, but they kept it cleany, and they looked much more solid. So now he's back.
There are just a lot of certain players that are just so much more vocal, like Hart as well. I feel that Joe Hart will be shouting at his defenders, and they're probably turning around and be like, "Look, you've just arrived, mate. Settle down, yeah."
Have you seen that video of Joe Hart when the ball goes out and he runs out, get up, and he's like, "Give me the fucking ball."
I haven't seen it.
Anyway, so I mean that's the week. It's been a busy week. There's been lots of goals, even midweek. DCL hat trick. Did I get it right this time?
Yeah.
Finally.
That time.
All over it, isn't he?
Yeah. So I know we're sort of getting a bit pressed for time, but so midweek roundup. There is a link in our Instagram and all our social media and on the website and the articles to be a more comprehensive roundup. But sort of already touched on City. The main points being that they've got back in their old shape, and Laporte and. Had a good game. Sterling was Sterling through the middle of the centre, like the forward three. So that's probably the key things to take away from the City game. They're back, baby. You mentioned United Brighton. I mean, it was a couple of B teams, but mostly the big names were rested, and with Man United being the big names being fresh against a very tired Tottenham team. I would say keep an eye out on United assets for the weekend because Tottenham are good and United are here or there, but I just think fatigue's going to play a big factor in that.
I see penalties in that game. I don't know why. I see penalties.
Say again?
I see some penalties occurring.
Yeah, some flailing arms and lazy legs. Yeah,
and Eric Dier handball, something like that.
Eric Dier throwing them around there.
But I mean, I think did you highlight at all in your analysis? I didn't check, Woody. Did you highlight the biggest game of the week, which was Newport County versus Newcastle?
I have, yeah. And I'll read my 3-line analysis. A pretty terrible performance from Newcastle. They really didn't look threatening until Wilson and Joe Linton came on. I never thought I'd say that. The Wilson-Fraser link then looked to be finally reigniting, but I'd still give it time. Shah is back from injury. That's all I can say.
And as well, I saw a bit of a meme of, I think, Eric, you shared it with, Shelby, cupping his ears and shushing the crowd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's getting a bit of stick for that, but I think it's because, and I don't understand this, right? So you think there's no supporters in the stands, so everyone's like, oh, good, the players aren't getting any banter, so all the young stars are coming through. There's no racism, so there's lots of like flowing football and lots of creativity and stuff. It's good for football because there's not all this pressure from the fans. Turns out some of the Newport management staff and like club staff were in the stands giving Shelby shit the entire game. Like, people that work at Newport. So he's just like, up yours, Sonny Jim. Yeah, pipe down.
To be fair, Shelby, I mean, come on, Shelby's dirty. We all know that, right? He loves a red card and all that. But then, do you remember like a couple of years ago, he went on the BBC or Daily Mail and he tried to sell himself as a good guy? It was ridiculous. No one was believing it.
No one that looks like Voldemort like he does can come across as a good guy.
I mean, yeah. So, okay, let's get on to this week's team. So it has been a difficult decision. I'm sure it's been for everyone else with injuries and all that sorts. But we have come to a decision. And as always, you can follow the team on fplbanter.com, and we'll post it on Twitter and Instagram as well. So starting off at the back, I can do that today. I think Alex was on that duty last week. So in goals, we've gone for a 4.5er. We've gone for McCarthy. Well, Southampton have actually looked quite good, and they're playing West Brom. I think it was Alex who said that you can't really count on clean sheets this year. So getting an expensive goalkeeper, I mean, unless you're looking at a penalty save, probably not. You're probably wasting the funds.
We were looking at Leno because of
Yeah.
how he's been playing and because of how he played midweek. So, but he's just a little bit too expensive for us. So we had to.
But yeah,
And Sheffield United are due a win.
Yeah, exactly.
they are. So as the backup keeper, we have Nyland, which for obvious reasons, 4.0. And then, so we're playing a 3-4-3 this week. And in defense, we have Castagna, who has been playing very, very well. Has been involved in a lot of goals. And hopefully if Vardy plays at the weekend, because there was a little bit of doubt whether he would be fit or not. Well, if he does play, then they link up quite well. So we like to look at Castagna, get a little bit of an assist or goal situation going on. So I think he's a pretty safe bet. Moving on to a second defender, we have Dier. Again, Dier playing Brighton at home, and he's on free kicks. He takes corners. What did you guys think of Dier so far this season?
I love him. He's in my personal team. I think he's at his value. He's a great threat. I mean, he was good last year, had injuries and stuff. He was good the season before. I think he's just he's the Trent from the other side of Liverpool, and the other side of the back four as well, weirdly.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think Ancelotti puts a lot of stock in him. In the midweek games when they play their sort of semi-reduced team, like Nkunku, if I said that right, plays on the left, but then Dier drops in at centre-back. So he obviously values him as a defender and as a leader on the pitch. So I think he's a choice every week, really.
Yeah. I mean, he's expensive, 6.1 at the moment, but I think he is one for the season if you can afford it. And then as the third, well, Trent Alexander-Arnold, no surprises. To be honest, we'd be happy with Robbo as well because he's playing just as well. But, you have to pick one. And I think in this case, Trent, during the week, last week, he could have scored. He obviously got some points, but he was looking... he could have scored twice, I should say. But he was looking fantastic.
Fantastic.
Shall I do midfield? Oh, sorry.
Well, just to finish off in defense, we have Johnson and Dunn. They're fillers. They're 4.0. Johnson doesn't look like he'll play, but Dunn does. So that's
Tarkowski's back. Tarkowski's back. Dunn's done. The Dunn train's done. Read my analysis.
Is it? Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Well, so that's our defense. Anyway, midfield.
Do you want me to? I'll jump in the midfield real quickly.
So got your boy in there, so yeah.
I know, yeah, of course. Well, yeah. Let me start off with the big guy Barnes because he's actually as well. In my personal team, I'm subbing Son out for Barnes because, well, as you'll see, we don't have Vardy up front, and for us to get involved with the Leicester attack that we like so much at the moment, I think Barnes is a good option. But I believe he's been questioned with regards to his finishing, but hopefully he'll polish that off and he can score a few. Then we have Mahrez as well. I think I know even though City didn't look great last week, Mahrez did look good. He looked kind of on it. So I think he's a good choice, and we have to have a City player in there.
Did you see that goal? I mean, that goal was incrable. No one's talking about it because they lost, but oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Madon. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Madon.
Then we have Klitsch as well because similar to the 5-2, I mean, City have a leaky defense at the moment. I still think they're going to be a little bit rockety. And in order for us to get involved with the Leeds attack, even though they didn't score much last week, we got some Klitsch. We have Klitsch in there. So hopefully he'll get involved in a few goals. And then we have a Liverpool player that we have to, obviously. We've got Mane. They're playing Villa. I think that goes without saying. I'm glad everyone's getting on the Mane train more than the Salah train.
Well, that's not actually true. Statistically speaking, a lot of people have sold him because his value has dropped, right?
Yeah, but I don't know why that is, though, because Salah played during midweek. Mane has been completely rested, so he'll definitely be starting.
Because of his knock.
What?
I mean, it's just reactiness, isn't it? It's classic beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't do well in the first game, so get rid of him. And then, he's done well in that game.
Yeah. And then we just have a little filler, Alzate for Brighton. Let's see how he does. I mean, 2 points, whatever. If we get an injury or whatever, wouldn't go amiss. But at least he starts, Alzate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you mentioned, but obviously Klitsch being on Penos and with the handball situation.
Exactly, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'll come back to that at the end because I just had a theory I was going to mention before, but I forgot about the handballs. Okay, well, I'll do the strikers because two of them are my boys, both in my personal team. It's Raul Jimenez and DCL, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, I mean, I think everybody's on the DCL train. I think his value's gone up more than anyone else's, except maybe Bamford.
Yeah.
You know, he's got another hat trick in midweek, and you know, what can you say? Brighton at home, why not? You'd be fool not to have him. Jimenez, Wolves obviously have a bit of a mixed bag start to the season. Great first game, average second game, terrible third game. He's been scoring at both ends, but Fulham, I think, are the whipping boy this year.
Yeah.
They're like Norwich of
sure.
last year and Swindon of years gone by.
I'm just going to throw out my Jimenez theory. He doesn't show up against the small teams. Done.
I don't know why you say that. You've got to back that up.
It's true. Trump. If he plays City, he'll score a hat trick.
No, you watch. I'm banking on a Jimenez brace. That's what I'm going for.
Okay.
Yeah, Fulham at home. They've got the. I think by the end of the season, you'll see they'll have one of the worst defensive records we've seen in recent years because they're just all over the place. Always rubbish. Personal opinion. I'm sure he's a lovely man. And then the final striker is Harry Kane. Now, I'm actually against this personally, but I was overruled by the other two. Just going to put that in there now. Just with the week that they've had, traveling again now up to United. You know, it's a long drive up the M6.
But it's Mourinho. Mourinho's going to spur them on. And Kane is going to be like, all right, guys, let's go out there. Yeah, I beat him.
Yeah, but I mean, he played almost all the game against Newcastle. He played 30 minutes against Chelsea. He played 80 minutes against Maccabi Haifa. And now, you know what I mean? He's just... I think Spurs will have their legs run off him. I think it's a risky asset. But that being said, it's Harry Kane. He's on penalties and he's been racking up FPL points and hat tricks in Europe and stuff.
And Man U are leaky. You know what I mean? I mean, what hopefully what will happen is he comes on for 60 minutes, scores a couple of goals, and then is subbed off at 60 minutes.
And then take him off. I mean, yeah. I mean, that could well happen. It's true. I mean, it's... And that's it. At the end of the day, it's Harry Kane. He's a points machine. So, yeah. But just with the week they've had, I'm a bit reluctant.
Well, go on. If you're gonna say you're against him, who would you get instead? Then come on, let's see.
Well,
oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I would possibly go with Vardy, but we've already got two Leicester, so it's kind of like you don't want to triple up on Leicester. So, I'd probably go for another midfielder personally, but. You know,
very diplomatic answer. Very vague, I see.
I'd go with a 3-5-2 and get another high scoring midfielder, like maybe Fernandez, to be honest, because he's on penos as well. But you know, only time will tell. I think splitting hairs here. I mean, it's a good choice. I like it.
All right, guys. Captain, who are we thinking?
Well, Kane, I think after that speech.
Just to mug me right off.
Should we just do it? Should we just be a little bit punty, Eric? Should we just vote Kane in for captain?
I mean, it's your decision.
All right, yeah. Just
the way we usually do this is we take a vote. It's democratic. But I mean, let's vote against Woody. I'm down with that.
Yeah. No, I think Mane's a strong one. I mean, we could go Jimenez. I mean, after all the kind of what Woody is saying about Jimenez, he could be an interesting
Jimenez
one.
Against one of the smaller teams.
Personally, I would go with Mane. I think
that's the safe choice, right? That's the safe choice, guys. Right? If you were being a bit punty, who would you want to do? If it didn't have any it would always have ramifications. But if you really want to
punty, I'd go Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree with that.
But statistically speaking, it's not punty, right? Because he's played well so far.
Yeah. You're right. In an objective sort of sense, looking at like the players, it's a punty. But with the form he's been on, and like Brighton, I mean, they kept it clean against Newcastle. But I mean, Jesus, who can't these days?
I think a punty one would be Jimenez or Kane, to be honest. But anyway, we're going with Mane and then vice captain. We sticking with Kane, or do we want to switch it?
So I'm happy with Mane captain. I think I feel good about that. So Mane captain, is that what we're deciding on?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think a vice really matters because I'm pretty sure Mane is going to play.
Yeah, and so Kane vice.
Famous last words though, Woody.
Yeah,
If we were to pick one,
coming from the guy who triple captain Mane last year when he got over 2 game weeks, he got a total of how many points did he?
Yeah, I got 3 points.
3 points.
But hey, I was not the only one. It was the week where they had the double game week and he came off after 26 minutes. That burned a lot of people.
Oh God, yeah, no, that is horrendous. Vice?
That's not my fault.
Vice captain?
Vice Kane, I think.
I'd go DCL. Punty Vice.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm down for DCL. Eric.
All right, DCL it is. And so, like every week, if you have to bring in one player, Alex, who would you bring in?
I've already spoken about him. He's my main man, Harvey Barnes.
Okay, Harvey Barnes, 7 mil. Is he 7 or 7.1?
7. So I've swapped him out for the 9 mil of Son and brought Barnes in. I'm planning to use my wild card next week after the internationals for game week 5. So I'll get a better idea. But yeah, for me, I think he's strong. I don't have Vardy up front, so I like to get in on the Leicester attack. So I'm going Barnes because I like the way he plays.
Okay, Woody.
I mean, it's a tricky one because it's because he's such a big value player and you probably already got him. But I think Mane is going to have a storming week this week.
He likes to score away, isn't that his thing?
Well, thanks for ruining our captain ahead of time.
Exactly.
There you go. I've got to back my captain pick, right?
True.
All right, so a bit more punty because I know a lot of people have Son and probably wondering what to do with him. I'm thinking get MAYMAYS in. One of the main reasons is that I think he'll play. He's in form and he's 8.5, so he's affordable. So I'm going with MAYMAYS, straight swap for Son.
Yeah, no, that's a good call actually. Yeah, a lot of people need to cover that Son.
I mean, don't forget, Son probably won't play this week, and assuming he doesn't, he then gets another 2 weeks off because of the international break. So he might be back next game week, essentially. So it's only 1 week out. So maybe think about that.
Yeah, so you could afford to. But again, it's a hamstring, as we've discussed, and that is really unpredictable, really.
It is. And even when he does come back, he might not play 90 and so on. So don't know. He might lose a bit of value in the meantime because over 2 weeks, it's quite likely he'll lose value. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think probably, or you could upgrade him to someone like Fernandez, but probably lacking 1.5 and then have to downgrade someone else. So anyway, I'm sticking with MAYMAYS. That's my transfer for the week. So I think that basically sums it up for this week, guys.
Well, I've decided who I would put in instead of Kane, by the way, and it's Danny Ings, West Brom at home. That's who I'd put in.
That's a good point, actually.
It's so not bad. Yeah.
So just watch this space. Watch how smug I am in next week's podcast.
You've taken too much time to think about it, though. This is the thing.
Yeah, no. I just throw it in there at the end. Like you can't argue.
I mean, Danny Ings, yeah, he's in form. He's a good player. It's actually quite annoying watching the matches when you don't have him because he looks like he's going to score.
Yeah, I've got him, so I'm all right, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us again. FPLBanter.com. Social media, Alex?
At FPL_Bants and at FPL Banter for the Instagram and Facebook.
And that's it from us. Best of luck, everyone. And we'll be back next week. We'll be trying to do a midweek podcast about the internationals, and then we'll do another podcast just before the next game week. So see you then. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.